Valuing yourself first is the foundation of any healthy and magnetic relationship. It's not about arrogance or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about truly recognizing your worth and behaving in ways that reflect that recognition. When you value yourself, you stop needing validation from someone else to feel good about who you are. You understand that your time, energy, love, and presence are precious, and not everyone automatically deserves access to them. That shift in mindset changes everything about how you show up in a romantic dynamic. You no longer feel the need to impress or constantly prove your worth because you know you already have it. You don't wait around for breadcrumbs of affection or tolerate inconsistency just to hold on to someone's attention. Instead, you become more discerning, more protective of your emotional space, and more confident in walking away from anything that doesn't align with your standards. When a woman values herself, it's felt in every interaction. She speaks with clarity, she sets boundaries without guilt, and she holds her head high even when things don't go her way. This inner confidence sends a powerful message: I'm not here to be completed, I'm already whole. And that's exactly the kind of energy that captures a man's attention. Not momentarily, but deeply and enduringly. Men are drawn to women who carry themselves with dignity and self-assuredness because it signals emotional maturity. It shows that you are not going to lose yourself in the relationship. Instead, you're going to elevate it with your presence. Valuing yourself also means making choices that prioritize your peace and well-being. It means not texting someone just to avoid silence, not rearranging your entire schedule for someone who hasn't earned that level of access, and not tolerating mixed signals disguised as affection. It's about knowing that being alone is far better than being with someone who makes you feel unsure, small, or anxious. This creates a powerful dynamic. Instead of being afraid of losing him, he starts becoming afraid of losing you. Because subconsciously, people sense when you don't need them to feel good about yourself. That independence becomes incredibly attractive. It sets the tone for mutual respect rather than dependency. Self-value is also reflected in how you invest in yourself. Do you pursue your goals? Do you have a life filled with passion, purpose, and joy that doesn't rely on anyone else? When you do, you become someone who's genuinely happy, and happiness is magnetic. People want to be around that energy. They want to be part of a life that's already rich and full. And a man, in particular, starts seeing you not just as someone he wants, but as someone he's lucky to have. Ultimately, when you lead with self-worth, you stop trying to convince someone to see your value. Instead, you let your energy speak for you. And the right man, the one truly worth your time, won't just see it, he'll rise to meet it. Yousay, Be Emotionally Independent expended this keynote of 500 words without any subheadings and conclusion. ChatGPT said, "Being emotionally independent is one of the most powerful traits a woman can possess in a relationship. It means that your sense of happiness, confidence, and inner peace doesn't rely on whether someone is giving you attention, replying to your messages, or validating your worth. It means that while you can love deeply, you don't need someone else to complete you or make you feel secure. This kind of independence doesn't make you cold or detached. It makes you strong, attractive, and emotionally resilient. When a woman is emotionally independent, she can offer love from a place of abundance, not desperation. She chooses to be with someone not because she needs them to fix something inside her, but because she genuinely enjoys the connection. That distinction changes everything. A man senses when a woman is emotionally whole. He feels the difference between someone who is clinging to him to fill a void and someone who has already filled that void on her own. The latter becomes irresistible. There's something captivating about a woman who can spend time alone and enjoy her own company, who doesn't crumble when a man pulls away, and who remains centered even in the face of uncertainty. This doesn't mean you don't feel emotions or have moments of vulnerability. It means you know how to manage your emotions without letting them define your actions. You don't spiral into panic if he hasn't texted back right away. You don't lose sleep over mixed signals. Instead, you observe, reflect, and respond with clarity and strength. Emotional independence also allows you to maintain your standards without fear of loss. You're not afraid to walk away if something doesn't align with your values, because you trust that your peace is more valuable than temporary attention. You don't beg, plead, or over-explain your worth. You know that the right connection won't require you to shrink yourself or compromise your dignity. This calm confidence shifts the balance in the relationship. When a man realizes that you're not emotionally dependent on him, it creates a dynamic where he starts to invest more. He knows you're not afraid to leave if your needs aren't met, and that awareness motivates him to show up differently. The beauty of emotional independence is that it allows you to stay grounded. You don't get swept away by a fantasy. You stay rooted in reality. You see the situation for what it is, not what you hope it could become. You don't ignore red flags just because you crave affection. You don't lose yourself in someone else's potential. Instead, you make clear, conscious decisions about who gets access to your emotional world. That self-control, that emotional maturity, is what truly separates a woman who constantly feels confused or heartbroken from one who is consistently in control of her love life. Being emotionally independent doesn't mean you reject love. It means you are ready for real love. It means you're ready to connect with someone in a way that enhances your life rather than defines it. And that energy, that's what makes someone obsess. Not because they're trying to fix you, but because they realize they've found someone who doesn't need them, but still chooses them. You said, create a unique emotional connection, expended this keynote of 500 words without any subheadings and conclusion. ChatGPT said, creating a unique emotional connection is what truly sets you apart in a man's mind. Physical attraction might capture his attention, but emotional connection is what keeps him coming back, thinking about you, and ultimately falling deeper over time. This kind of bond isn't built on surface-level conversation or performative affection. It's created through authenticity, vulnerability, and a genuine understanding of each other's emotional worlds. When you create a space where he feels seen, understood, and emotionally safe, you offer him something he doesn't find every day. In a world full of shallow interactions, a deep emotional connection becomes unforgettable. To build this connection, you have to show up as your real self. That doesn't mean oversharing or trying to bond too quickly, but rather being emotionally honest. It's about expressing your thoughts and feelings in a way that invites openness rather than judgment. When you're present, truly listening, and responding with empathy, it allows him to let his guard down. Most men aren't used to being emotionally supported in a meaningful way, so when they encounter someone who listens without trying to fix, who understands without pressuring, it leaves an imprint. They remember how you made them feel, and that feeling becomes rare and addictive. Another key to emotional connection is curiosity. Not just asking questions to make conversation, but genuinely wanting to know who he is, what drives him, what scares him, what lights him up inside, and in turn, letting him see you. Letting him see your passions, your values, your quirks, and even your fears. That mutual exchange of emotional depth builds trust and intimacy. When you allow yourself to be known, not just admired or desired, you give him the opportunity to bond with you on a level beyond appearances or routines. This doesn't just make him like you more, it makes him emotionally invested in you. Emotional connection also comes from being able to hold space for both light and heavy moments. It means laughing together, teasing each other, creating private jokes, but also being able to have serious conversations without pulling away. When he knows that you're not just there for the fun times, but also the hard ones, it deepens his attachment. You become a consistent emotional presence, not someone who disappears at the first sign of discomfort. This reliability, paired with emotional insight, makes him feel like he can be more of himself around you than he can with anyone else. That safety becomes intimacy, and intimacy becomes obsession, not in a toxic way, but in a way where he feels like you're home. What really makes a connection unique is the energy behind it. Are you just trying to get him to like you, or are you really connecting? Are you present and in tune, or just performing? Real connection can't be faked, and once he feels it with you, he'll find it difficult to replicate with anyone else. It's not about being the most beautiful or the most agreeable. It's about making him feel something real, something rare, something that lives in his memory long after you leave the room. You said, "Don't chase, be the prize." Emotional connection expended this keynote of 500 words without any subheadings and conclusion. ChatGPT said, "Don't chase, be the prize," is a mindset shift that changes how a man experiences you from the very beginning. It's about embodying an inner belief that you are already enough, already valuable, and already worthy of love, without needing to seek constant reassurance or pursue someone's attention. Chasing a man often comes from a place of insecurity or impatience, where you feel the need to close the gap, to make things happen, or to control the outcome. But that energy, even when it's subtle, communicates that you believe he has more value than you do, and that your happiness depends on whether or not he chooses you. Men sense that imbalance, and it often has the opposite effect of what you want. Instead of drawing him closer, it pushes him away, because the chase puts him in a position of power and removes the sense of mystery, desire, and effort that fuels attraction. When you stop chasing and start seeing yourself as the prize, everything shifts. You begin to realize that you're not here to convince anyone of your worth. You're here to observe who is capable of recognizing it without being prompted. Being the prize doesn't mean being passive or playing games. It means being emotionally secure enough to allow space for a man to show up, to pursue, and to invest. It means you're not anxiously refreshing your phone, overanalyzing every message, or compromising your standards just to keep someone interested. You have a life, goals, and joy that aren't dependent on whether or not a man is giving you attention. That independence, that sense of fullness, is what creates emotional gravity. It makes him want to earn your time and feel like winning your heart actually means something. Being the prize is about holding a quiet confidence that says, "I know what I bring to the table." It's felt in how you carry yourself, how you respond to inconsistency, and how you don't chase after someone who's pulling away. Instead, you lean back, stay in your power, and let people reveal themselves. A man respects what he has to work for, not because it's hard to get, but because it's rare to find someone who knows their value and doesn't hand it out cheaply. When you stop chasing, you create space for him to experience the thrill of pursuit. You let him miss you, wonder about you, and realize what his life feels like with and without you in it. That emotional contrast is powerful, and it doesn't happen when you're always the one reaching out, planning, and initiating. In the space you create by not chasing, emotional connection grows naturally. He begins to see you not as someone who needs his attention, but as someone he feels privileged to receive attention from. You become more than just a potential partner. You become a challenge, an inspiration, and a source of emotional intrigue. And that's when obsession starts to take root, not because you chased him, but because you gave him something to chase that felt real, valuable, and unlike anything he's had before. You said, "Set and maintain standards." Expended this keynote of 500 words without any subheadings and conclusion. ChatGPT said, "Setting and maintaining standards is not about being demanding or difficult. It's about knowing what you deserve and refusing to settle for less." When you have clear standards, you create a filter for how people treat you, what kind of relationships you allow into your life, and what kind of behavior you're willing to accept. These standards are a reflection of your self-worth. They show that you've taken the time to understand your values, your emotional needs, and your vision for love. And when you maintain those standards, not just at the start, but consistently, you build a sense of trust in yourself and in the connection. A man will always respect a woman who respects herself. He might test boundaries, he might push a little, but what makes him take you seriously is your consistency. It's easy to set standards. It's maintaining them that separates women who end up in fulfilling relationships from those who keep settling for temporary attention. When a woman has standards, she doesn't confuse chemistry for compatibility. She knows that attraction alone isn't enough, and she doesn't get swept away by sweet words or potential. She watches actions. She pays attention to how consistently he shows up, how he handles conflict, and how he treats others. And if she sees a pattern that doesn't align with her values, she doesn't try to change him. She walks away. That ability to walk away, even when she's emotionally invested, is one of the most powerful forms of self-respect. It shows a man that she's not afraid to be alone rather than be treated poorly. That kind of quiet strength sends a message he won't forget. Standards also help create emotional safety. They provide structure, clarity, and predictability in a relationship. When you communicate your boundaries calmly and assertively, without drama or emotional manipulation, you actually make it easier for the right man to love you. He knows where you stand. He knows what's expected. And if he's emotionally mature, he will rise to meet you there. On the other hand, if he's not ready, your standards will naturally filter him out. And that's the point. They're not meant to keep love away. They're meant to protect you from wasting time on someone who isn't truly compatible. When you enforce your standards with grace and confidence, you create a hive, you energy that makes a man feel lucky to be chosen by you, not entitled to your time. The women who get deeply respected, loved, and committed to aren't the ones who bend themselves into knots trying to please a man. They're the ones who know what they want and are unafraid to ask for it. They don't settle for breadcrumb attention, inconsistent behavior, or emotional immaturity. They operate from a place of quiet power, and that power becomes incredibly attractive. A woman with standards stands out in a world where too many are willing to compromise themselves just to keep someone around. And when you stay true to those standards, the right man won't be intimidated by them. He'll be inspired by them. You said, Keep Evolving expended this keynote of 500 words without any subheadings and conclusion. ChatGPT said, Keep evolving is one of the most powerful principles not just in relationships, but in life. When you're committed to your own growth, you become endlessly interesting, not just to others, but to yourself. You don't stay stuck in who you were 6 months ago, a year ago, or 5 years ago. Instead, you continue becoming a better, fuller version of yourself. And that kind of energy is magnetic. It creates mystery, depth, and excitement that keeps a man curious and drawn in. People are naturally attracted to those who are passionate about life, those who are learning, growing, and stepping into their potential. It signals that you're not just sitting around waiting for a relationship to fulfill you. You're already living a fulfilling life, and any man who enters it has to rise to meet you where you are and where you're going. Evolving means constantly investing in yourself. Whether that's pursuing new goals, reading, working on your emotional intelligence, or expanding your experiences, it shows that you don't just value who you are now. You value who you're becoming. It also means being willing to let go of old habits, outdated beliefs, or patterns that no longer serve you. Growth isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it means confronting uncomfortable truths, healing past wounds, and choosing better even when it's harder. But every time you do, you reinforce the message that your life is a work of art in progress. That energy is irresistible. A woman who is committed to her growth never feels stagnant. She continues to challenge her partner, inspire him, and add new layers to the relationship that keep it emotionally rich. When you keep evolving, you also become more emotionally resilient. You stop taking rejection as a sign of inadequacy and start seeing it as redirection. You begin to trust your path, knowing that the right people will align with your growth, not try to hinder it. That self-assuredness creates a level of peace and confidence that many people spend years trying to cultivate. You're not clinging to what was, you're focused on what's next, and a man who values depth and connection will feel that energy. He won't just see you as someone who's beautiful or kind, he'll see you as someone who's rare, someone whose mind and spirit are constantly expanding. Men fall in love with how they feel around you, and when you're evolving, the energy you bring into a room changes. You become the kind of woman who surprises him, who inspires him to grow as well. He starts to realize that being with you means never getting too comfortable in complacency. That's not intimidating to the right man, it's invigorating. He knows that if he wants to stay close, he'll need to keep growing too, and that mutual evolution builds a connection that's not just exciting in the beginning, but deeply fulfilling over time. In a world where so many people settle, staying committed to your evolution is the secret to standing out, to staying magnetic, and to building a relationship that never stops deepening.